Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And we are doing our last week of March for the March Dismemberment. Remember, we told you earlier in the month it was a long one. And I'll tell you, this could be one of the most epic dismemberments in a while. So it's almost like a kismet that it ended up we having to do it in its own little week here because
I would not want to take away from this week by
by
putting in any like random generic titles, because the titles they saved for this week is like they saved up every crazy title they could find and just saved them for this week.
Yeah, I mean, and we
It's
got some
so
like
bizarre.
I think like 3 or 4 new film historians maybe.
Oh
some
my
of the
gosh.
trailers for this are just wacky. I don't even understand. I don't even know what we're watching half the time. But I'll tell you though, this is going to be a fun one, I think, for everyone.
Yes. All right, well, we'll kick things off with Blue Underground, and they're giving us one called Night of the Blood Monster 4K. This was from 1970. Christopher Lee gives one of his most unforgettable performances as Judge George Jeffries. Not to be confused with George Jefferson.
I know,
That
yeah,
would be
who
interesting
was not
to
a
see.
judge. He ran a laundromat. Or cleaners. Cleaners.
Dry cleaner, yeah.
Dry cleaner.
The infamous 17th century witch finder whose unholy obsession with a luscious wench, Maria Rome of the blood of Fu Manchu, fuels a jaw-dropping spree of torture, brutality, and flesh-ripping perversion. Howard Vernon, Succubus, Margaret Lee, Eugenie, Maria Schell, 99 Women.
She was also in Superman the movie. Maria
Oh.
Schell, yeah.
And Oscar nominee Leo Ginn, Quo Vadis, co-star in this landmark epic of sexual violence and sadism, complete with a superb score by Bruno Nicolai. Ooh, I like him.
Yeah.
Who did Justine, and directed with spectacularly deviant glee by the one and only Jess Franco.
Okay,
So
now
the Jess
it makes
Franco
sense.
movie. Yeah, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
This one, like I said, this is such a Tim movie. It's 70s. It's Christopher Lee. It's flesh-ripping perversion. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, one of the lines from the trailer literally says, "Caged women pitting their men against heavy artillery and hired killers." So yeah, I'm in with that.
It was great.
quote.
Yes. We do have some special features here. We have an exclusive new 4K restoration of the fully uncut version of the film from the original camera negative. Audio commentary number 1 with film historians Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson.
Oh no,
who we
I
all
just
know.
noticed the film historian thing below there. It just says Christopher Lee. It like got edited or something down there. But
yeah.
it was I think it was historians. I had the historian's notes are in there still. It's just
Yeah, so we'll go over that here in a second.
yeah.
We have another audio commentary with film historians Kim Newman and Barry Forshaw.
Yeah,
which
we don't
also
need to
know.
talk about them. They've been talked to death.
Their grandfather, Dan,
Yeah.
yeah. The new film historian here, I believe it's another audio commentary, is by Adrian J. Smith. And I'll let Brian tell you
Actually,
who Adrian J. Smith is.
He's not new, actually, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't recognize
and
him.
and David Flint together were in another duo they formed here. But I'll go anyway. But Adrian J. Smith, though, the J stands for jolly, and he's always happy and upbeat, which kind of adds weird contrast to the Giallo films he discusses. So, especially this one. I don't know how jolly he could be with this. This would be weird.
No.
Unless he just laughs at all the craziness. And David Flint, he has a whole little history here. He said before becoming a Giallo connoisseur, he was one of a different kind for pastries. He made his love into a business and opened up a small bake shop, unfortunately called Flint Scones. And this led to some confusion and a copyright infringement lawsuit, forcing him out of business. Like his name suggests, though, through another spark of genius, he fell back on his second love, and that was of Giallo films, and studied them so in depth that he can quote just about every line from any Giallo film. Fun fact, he still enjoys a good scone every now and then, and in fact brought some for Adrian J. Smith for this very commentary. See, that's how I knew we had him before. He did the same thing last time.
Wow. Well, that's a good friend, to bring scones to an audio commentary.
Right? I mean, you got to eat. Those movies are 2 hours long. You need a snack.
This one has Bloody Jess, interviews with director Jess Franco and star Christopher Lee. Judgment Day, interview with Stephen Thrower, author of Murderous Passions, The Delirious Cinema of
He
Jesus
just can't
Franco.
keep his ranking.
Jesus Franco.
You know?
I don't know. Yeah, he hasn't been a film historian in a long time.
He hasn't. It's like he most of the people like progress. He like regressed. I feel like he like gave up that like shiny bright lights of the film historian.
He probably got tired of us talking about him. But,
that could be it too.
In the Shadows, interviews with filmmaker Alan Birkinshaw and author Stephen Thrower on Harry Allen Towers. See, he's going from author of a book to just author.
Yeah, he's not even like
keeps regressing.
Yeah. By next week, he'll just be a film viewer.
Deleted and alternate scenes, trailers and TV spots, still galleries, and a limited edition embossed slipcover and reversible sleeve with alternate artwork. First pressing only.
This next one we have, it's from, I just got to close that there, Dark Star Pictures. And that's Night Siren from 2022. It says a young woman returns to her native mountain village, searching for answers about her troubled childhood. But as she tries to uncover the truth, ancient superstitions lead the villagers to accuse her of witchcraft and murder. And Tim said the same thing I did. It's like, it totally, like, they literally ripped off a scene from Midsommar.
It looks like Midsommar meets The Witch.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like totally like, Ari Aster and Robert Eggers, like, combined for a movie.
Yeah.
And which is funny because they always seem to have this weird like competition that like people made up for them. Like they probably don't care and they probably like each other a lot. But like feels like the horror fans like made up this versus thing to him.
Yeah, it's sort of like a John Carpenter versus Wes Craven thing for like the modern era. Yeah, it's
imaginary. They're both great filmmakers. You know, it's like yes, you might prefer one style over the others, but I don't know why everything's got to be a battle these days.
Yeah,
but it only comes with trailers and still gallery. If you want to complain, that's what you complain about.
Yeah, this one looks cool. I still want to see it.
Yeah, no, I do. I do want to see this, but.
Release number 3 from Decal Releasing is Out of Darkness. This one came out this year in theaters, actually, that I really wanted to go see it. In the old Stone Age, wait, is there a new Stone Age?
I know.
Well, there's a modern Stone Age going back to the Flintstones.
I know. I'd like to be part of that one, you know.
The old Stone Age, a disparate gang of early humans band together in search of a new land. But when they suspect a malevolent, mystical being is hunting them down, the clan are forced to confront a danger they never envisaged.
I like that word, envisaged.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, you could have done envisioned, but I like that they went envisaged.
I know, that was kind of strange. But I'm looking forward to this one. I heard it was good. I saw that it was out in the theaters, but never got a chance to go see it. So, and you got to admit, like caveman horror, that's kind of a very niche.
Yeah, it's a good
subgenre. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, I don't know if
extras,
we've had Decal releasing before. Do you think? I don't. Right?
We have. Yeah, we have.
Oh, we have. Oh, good. So they're sticking around. You're saying?
Yes, exactly.
I set you up perfectly.
Oh, you did. Yes, you did. Oh, I should have known better.
Wait. So I get this one. Oh boy, this is a doozy. Powerhouse Films. They start a interesting little twosome here. But the first one is The Bat Woman from 1968, and it's Bat Woman. There, it's one word. It's funny. Like in the description, it's one word, but in the title, it's two. So anyway, Batwoman is called to investigate a whacked-out scientist that is capturing wrestlers and using their spinal fluid to create a gill man. So
who actually looks like a lobster.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like that. But this is what I got. So I said, so Batwoman is a lucha libre wrestler who likes to hang out at the beach in a blue bat bikini, fight evil henchmen who are wearing those like classic evil henchman suit and hats, right?
Yes. While
a Dr. Frankenstein ripoff is creating a red creature from the Black Lagoon, right? That pretty much sums it up?
But what I said was I thought this was like a Batwoman, not the Batwoman, because they basically ripped off the Batwoman costume, or they ripped off the Adam West Batman costume.
Yeah. Oh no, they ripped off some material too because she's in a bat bikini. Remember?
Yeah, and then she's in a car that's reminiscent of the 1960s Batmobile, and I'm like, how did DC not sue the hell out of this movie? Because she's clearly trying to be the Batwoman.
Yeah, and look when it was. It was like it was right around the time like the show, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is a total ripoff.
Maybe they made it. The people that made the show made it, and they just were so embarrassed that they like.
Or they never thought anybody outside of out of Mexico would ever see this. Or
probably,
something.
Yeah. I mean, well, remember. I should ask my brother. He probably would know better. But I'm not like good. I don't know all the logistics of copyright infringements and all these things. Maybe if it's in another country, as long as it doesn't like actually play in the same thing. You know how it's a perfect example. Like Universal, right? Can use the Marvel comic characters, but they can't use them out of Orlando. And Disney can't use a certain one. Yeah, so it could be something like that. Like maybe because it is Mexican cinema, they're allowed to.
Yeah, they could do some weird thing like, oh, you only have the rights to the comic book, but not the show kind of thing. Yeah,
and it's only for U.S. You can't.
Right.
I can make it here and sell it here, and you can't do anything about it. Well, I got news for you. The way some of the modern DC movies made, maybe they should have.
This actually looks more entertaining, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Anyway, this one's got some good features on it. It's got a 4K restoration for the original camera negative, original Spanish mono audio, and it's got audio commentary with film historian and Mexican cinema specialist David Wilt. Now, he's got a nice little backstory here. So sit down and relax to these. Some of these film historians this week have long backstories. But David Wilt, he came from an extremely wealthy family and used his vast fortune to help fund film projects. That's a nice thing he did,
very
right?
Nice. Yeah.
And so what he'd do is he'd interview inspiring filmmakers on the radio show he hosted in the early 90s called When There's a Wilt, There's a Way.
They always have a fun show.
Yeah,
they always have a fun title show.
Yes, of course. If he decided the project was worthy, he would present them with a large sum of money for the film budget. Sadly, though, every such film that never made any money. So he wasn't a good judge, I guess, of things. But he says, always the eternal optimist, he changed the format to talk about failed projects called Wilted. But ironically, that show was not successful either, as most listeners tuned in expecting a show for botanists. So, he at least he found his niche now. He's looking more famous than us. Look at that. He's 2024. He's on a commentary track. We've still yet to be on one.
I know.
I think we're like laid the groundwork to some of our people we've had on, though. I think we've hinted enough that one day we'll get called.
One day it's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point.
Yes. Okay, and then there's also a featurette called Adventures in Mexicolor from 2024. It says journalist, writer, and indie editor of Beelzebub and formerly DC Comics. Oh, there we go. Okay. Mauricio Matamoros Duran examines the position of the Batwoman within the Mexican and international pop and comic culture of the time. See, so they might explain everything we just questioned.
I know, yeah.
Maybe we might need to buy this now.
This was sanctioned, maybe.
Yeah, we might need to buy this. It also has Fantastic Creatures from 2024. It's and Jose Luis Ortega Torres. Oh my God. Want to add another 3 names to it? Film critic, teacher, and author. Oh, he almost made it. He's a film critic, teacher, and author of the book Monstrologia del Cine Mexicano. Explores the representation of monsters in early Mexican genre cinema. It's got a lot of cool features on this thing, actually.
Yeah, it does.
Original theatrical trailer, image gallery, promotional, and publicity material. And it's got a limited edition, exclusive 80-page book with a new essay by Dolores Tierney, archival essays by Doyle Green and Andrew Coe, archival interviews with Moramonte, and full film credits. So that is a packed disc from Powerhouse Films.
Yeah, and here's another packed disc from the same company, Powerhouse Films. This one's called...
They have a theme.
Yeah, this is definitely a theme. The Panther Women from 1967. The Panther Women are worshippers of Satan and perform rituals in their honor and sacrifice. The fighters will face them up and down the ring. So this one is horror and wrestling, so I'm all on board with this.
Yeah,
There's a weird crossover between horror and wrestling. You see it in the conventions all the time.
Oh, yeah. Especially New Jersey HorrorCon always had like wrestlers there. And then Chiller had some big ones. And it's funny, though, how this is like another Spanish movie about wrestlers and evil henchmen, though. It's like they definitely got a niche back in the 60s there.
Now, this one only has a 2K restoration from the original camera negative, original Spanish mono audio. Audio commentary with the publisher of From Parts Unknown and screenwriter of Los Campeones de la Lucha Libre, Keith J. Rainville, 2024. Let Them Fight. This is a 15-minute featurette on the killer film El Critico Enmascarado, the masked critic, Lucha Libre specialist, and filmmaker behind the Monterrey female wrestlers documentary La Femenil, discusses the protagonist of the film, the Cine de Luchadores, and the controversial story of Mexican female wrestling.
I kind of want to know that.
Yeah, that looks cool. Cat Fight. This is a 24-minute featurette. Academic and Latin American horror specialist. Ooh, just missed the cutoff there. Yeah. Valeria Villegas Lindval, also known as Morena de Fuego, examines the struggle for empowerment and the subverted representation of the female characters in the film. Original
Why does she
theatrical
have
trailer.
Two names like that?
I don't know. Maybe she's undercover.
Yeah.
Morena de Fuego might be her
Could be her luchador name. Yeah.
Her luchador name. Original theatrical trailer, image gallery, promotional publicity material, limited edition exclusive 80-page book with a new essay by Ian Robert Smith, archival essays by Janina Mobius and Ricardo Cardenas Perez, an archival interview with Guillermo Calderon, and full film credits. My God, do you guys listen to this podcast for our excellent Spanish pronunciation or what?
You must. If
you
not,
must.
You should start. I think they need to get I wish they were still alive because they could have got the Macho Man Randy Savage in there.
Oh yeah.
He was like, "Oh yeah, los creamers de crop." But no.
Oh
he
man,
didn't.
This is
I
why
tell you, that guy's. Have you ever watched Machoverse? That Instagram account? It's the funniest thing. It's like that guy just goes around everywhere dressed as full Macho Man's Randy Savage regalia. It's the best thing ever.
I need to look that up.
Yeah, we follow him on our Instagram. So and actually one time I made a comment on his page, like they were like joking about something. I made a comment. I got like one of the most likes we've ever had on Instagram, of course. But yeah,
it's always the random stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really funny because he goes to like other conventions and he interacts with other wrestlers, but like today he was like with some random he was with that like Peter Griffin guy, that guy that's like the human.
Oh
Peter
yeah,
Griffin.
the Peter Griffin. I've seen him at the con.
Yeah, well, he's at a con. He's hanging out with him, and they have this conversation. It's pretty funny. So check out the Machoverse. That guy is like funny. We should have him on the show because we like the Macho Man.
Yeah, we love the Macho Man.
Okay. Next one is one I need to see. Tim's been raving.
Oh my
about it.
gosh.
I just never got a chance to sit and see this.
You gotta watch this.
I'll probably buy it because it's RLJ. And so it's When Evil Lurks from 2023. In a remote village, two brothers find a demon-infected man just about to give birth to evil itself. They decide to get rid of the man, but merely succeed in helping him to deliver the inferno.
Top 5 of last year, easily.
Yeah, I know. I gotta see this. It's probably gonna be up for some chainsaws.
Yeah.
It says behind-the-scenes photo gallery and original trailer it has on it. So typical RLJ. But they sometimes sneak little features in there on their.
They do, yeah. But that one, if you guys have not seen it, I know I've talked about it before, but you've got to see that one. It's definitely one of the best from last year.
Well, I haven't seen it, so it'll be my horror challenge for this year. So,
speaking of probably not the best. From 1991, we have Saturn's Core, The Zombie Army. When the army takes over a former asylum, they discover that some inmates are still living in solitary confinement there and become murderous zombies. So this trailer looked like if Troma suddenly had to cut their budget in half.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. You know what? Like, Troma has got its niche, but you know what? There's one thing they'll do. They'll spend just enough money to make it Troma.
Yes.
Like, when you start cutting that budget, you don't get the magic that is Troma.
No, there's not enough room to cut. Troma plays lean. Like, you can't cut anymore. Like you said, just enough to make it look good.
Yeah, speaking of that, real quick, there's a little side story of that. They had Joe Bob was saying that when he interviewed on his last show, he had Roger and Julie Corman on there, and he was talking about all the different things he did, and like how like Roger Corman would loved the 78-minute time of his movie because it just was enough to get 4 reels and not 5 to save money, and they basically said he would literally crib the movie so it could fall exactly under budget, exactly the budget he wanted. And think about it, how many movies did he make that everyone loves? So it's obviously he had the right style with that, because he knew what he was doing. He managed to trim. He must have been good at self-editing because anything he had came out and it was and it was always yes, there were some bad films he did and some weird films he did, but I'll tell you what, the guy kept producing stuff and writing stuff, directing stuff, all these crazy things. But it's kind of funny when Joe Bob was talking about that because he was so brilliant minded, in terms of the budgetary concerns, which is why he was getting hired, and now he made money for studios that way.
Yeah, well, that's what I was listening to the Colors of the Dark podcast the other day, and they had the director of Imaginary was on, and he was talking about Jason Blum and talking about how he's going to be remembered for kind of the same thing, like how he basically took low budget horror and makes movies that still look good and are still good movies, but they make the studios a ton of money. And he was kind of talking about how he changed filmmaking. So kind of that same vein, if you can make entertaining movies under budget, I mean that's just money in the bank, man.
Well, I mean, he started off with these little things, but then he ended up getting some major franchises, under his belt. And, granted, I know he, Blumhouse has got this, lately there's been more misses than hits. I feel like, but still, it's like you see the Blumhouse logo and your ears perk up and your eyes open up because you're always going to be interested to what they have because they don't really. It's even the misses are sometimes misses for I don't know what the reason is, but it's not like it's a bad project,
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of back when New Line. Remember when New Line was?
Oh yeah,
when Nightmare on Elm Street was their big franchise, but they were making other horror movies, and I was like, oh, it's New Line, so I automatically was kind of interested in it, from a horror film perspective. But yeah, so back to the Zombie Army. We do have some extras here. Audio commentary with Richard Mogg, author of Analog Nightmares, the shot-on-video horror films of 1982 to 1995. Incubators of Death, The Asylum in Horror Cinema, a visual essay by Dr. Will Dodson and Ryan Verrill of Someone's Favorite Productions. Analog Outlaw, distributor filmmaker J.R. Bookwalter discusses the Zombie Army.
That's made up.
That's if that guy was not a librarian, he just was calling. The Video Makers, 3 episodes of the vintage cable access TV show hosted by writer-producer John Kalinowski. Archival contest video, isolated music by the Kill Toys, and original trailer.
The Kill Toys.
The Kill Toys. Oh, okay.
That sounds like a band like Puppet Masters or Demonic Toys would come up with it.
Yeah.
Next one, Severin Films comes in big here with the next batch here. First one is Closed Circuit from 1978. It says, a man is shot dead in his seat during a matinee screening of Giuliano Gemma Spaghetti Western. Giuliano Gemma Spaghetti Western. I didn't see the A. Prompting the police to close the cinema in an attempt to gather evidence. You think so? It's like, there's the Steve Martin meme right there. Really? No, they're gonna you know what? Guys, I know some of the guys shot in the dead, but you know what? You only got about 25 minutes to this film.
Come on,
Just watch it in the end, and when you guys leave to clean up, we'll go investigate. It's like some of the wording of these things.
Oh, it killed me.
Tim said not to be confused with Short Circuit. Very little Johnny Five in this one. Yeah. Can you imagine that? All of a sudden he just came in, though, and he's like,
Johnny Five and a Giallo.
And see, we need a Constantine Nazer commentary here, but they missed that boat. Anyway, it's a very Giallo-looking film, though. It's a new 2K restoration by Ray Italia. I don't know, R-A-I. I don't know how you would say that there. Introduction by Keir La Janice, author of House of Psychotic Women. Oh, that's that book you like.
That's a book I love. I'm still reading it because it's so freaking long. It's like tiny print and a lot of pages, but it is so good.
Oh, you might have to get this Blu-ray now.
Yeah, it's her describing Giallo, female-centric Giallo movies, but also she talks about how it relates to her life growing up, and it's amazing, amazing book.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know. I still got to get that. So it's got a couple of audio commentaries here. It's got with film historians Nathaniel Thompson and Howard Berger. We don't need to go through them. People hearing them for years. Murder at the Matinee, interview with director Giuliano Montaldo. Ooh, that's a cool name. And actually said it right.
That was good.
And here I mess it up. Okay, Il Sociologo, a video essay by film historian Kat Ellinger on actor Flavio Bucci. We don't need to go through Kat again. And re-release a trailer by Jake West. I will say one thing about Kat Ellinger, though. The due to the Kat's expertise, I think makes the perfect commentary.
Yes. Oh my god.
Sorry, that was terrible. Okay.
Release number 9. Yes, Severin Films, Burial Ground, 1981. This is a Civil Gore classic for you old timers.
Yeah, OG Civil Gore right here.
OG Civil Gore. A professor opens a crypt and reanimates rotten zombies. The zombies attack a jet set group, which is celebrating a party in a villa nearby. So we love this one because it starred the all-time great Peter Bark.
Yeah. He might have to go, just for his one appearance, may have to go into the Civil Gore Hall of Fame if we ever get that going.
Definitely.
But you know what's funny? This had actually creepy zombies in it.
It did. I mean, a lot of these movies from this kind of time period have some really especially the foreign zombies I thought were super cool.
Yeah, because they actually did what they did is it's the modern zombies, a lot of they just they'll slap some makeup on it. These look like literally decayed bodies in all different states of decay coming out. I feel like when you put makeup on a zombie, you're adding to it when there'd be less. There should be less body.
They look more skull-like, true corpses. Yeah, that always bothered me about these zombies movies because I'm like, all the zombies look so fresh, like they just died yesterday, and they're all in their 30s and 40s. And I'm like, where did all these 30s and 40s people die to make all these zombies.
Why are they not decomposed? Like it makes no sense.
I mean, I guess I can understand it because they bite other people, and then that is a freshly dead young zombie.
But like the ones like when they first come out in any movie, like they come out of the grave like and everything, and they're all like the same level of decomposition, like they had this mass death and burial.
Yeah, that's that bothers me. There's a lot of stuff about zombie stuff that bothers me in terms of like logic, but this is a 2-disc set. Disc 1
that would be a good book though, Zombie Logic, about a book like a total essay, like a book on just the history of zombie films and its positives, its negatives.
I'm sure it's been done.
It is, but not by us. Though.
True.
You need us in there. We'll get Peter Bark to write the foreword.
This is a 2-disc set. Disc 1 is a 4K Blu-ray, which has an exclusive new 4K restoration of the film. Audio commentary with critics Nathaniel Thompson, Troy Howarth, and Eugenio Ercolani. Those are all old school ones. Audio commentary with Italian cinema experts.
Why are the only critics there, though? They
I know.
Listed as film historians.
Well, that's why they didn't get highlighted.
A mistake on their part.
Yeah. Audio commentary with Italian cinema experts Callum Waddell and John Martin. Theatrical trailer. Disc 2 is the Blu-ray. Villa Parisi, Legacy of Terror, location featurette. Return to the Burial Ground. Interview with actor Peter Bark at Villa Parisi. Ooh, I'd like to see
Peter
that.
Bark interview. Yeah. Nice. We need this.
Peter Still Lives. Festival Q&A with Peter Bark.
Oh my God, it's like a Bark-centric disc.
Just for the Money. Interview with actor Simone Mattioli. The Smell of Death. Interviews with producer Gabriele Crisanti and actress Mariangela Giordano. Deleted extended material and theatrical trailer.
I might have to buy this now with all the Bark.
There's a lot of
features.
Bark. Yeah, a lot of Bark.
Oh,
they're barking up the right tree.
Yeah,
with Brian.
I think, and their bark may be worth than their buy. Okay, that was terrible. Okay, I didn't say bite necessarily because you buy purchase. That was terrible. It was
actually.
In my
it was so clever. It was horrible.
Yeah, yeah, right. It was like almost like wait, yeah, it's too clever for me. Okay. Next one we got Severin Films. Oh my God, what you wrote is the same thing I thought. But I didn't
my God.
But anyway, Dracula, Prisoner of Frankenstein. This from my birth year movie, 1972. Blood-sucking menace Count Dracula seems to have met his match in the form of the courageous Dr. Seward. But no one counted on the arrival of Dr. Frankenstein, who carts along his monster and devises a plan to bring the Count back to life for his own insidious means. Soon the countryside is overrun with seductive vampire vixens, a bloodthirsty werewolf, leering servants, and 2 horror titans at each other's throats. It's another wild, colorful, Euro-flavored creature feature from director Jesus Franco. Rights of Frankenstein and Vampiros Lesbos, in case you didn't know, Jess Franco by this point. Also known as The Screaming Dead and Dracula vs. Frankenstein. Oh, this is like a double AKA.
But he's fighting what's weird is
he's a wolfman, yeah.
It's Dracula versus Frankenstein, but it keeps showing Frankenstein fighting the Wolfman.
I mean, in fairness, didn't like one of the Universal Monster movies do something similar?
Yeah,
where it was like named something and they weren't even in it hardly or something?
Yeah, actually, a couple of them did.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like people just feel like they could have no continuity or like any like rules to these Universal monster properties. But anyway, does look cool. But Tim, I wrote it was a bizarre version of Universal mashup film. But he's so right. It says Frankenstein monster looks like Peter Boyle reprised his role from Young Frankenstein, but did it on an episode of Everyone Loves Raymond and points for hot girl vampires. Yes, there were some hot girl vampires in there. But yeah, it does. It looks like he recreated that role, but for another means, or he did it on SNL or something.
Yeah, but like when he was like in his late 60s or something.
Yeah,
it was like so it didn't look quite right because he was a lot older. Yeah,
it looked like they literally ran out of makeup budget midway through his application or something.
Yeah,
it's very bizarre. Just check out the trailer on that because I don't think our explanation is doing it justice. It's got a new 4K restoration and reconstruction of the film in original 2:39:1 aspect ratio. Prisoner of Frankenstein. That sounds like something
that's good.
That seems like something we would do.
Yeah.
Interview with Stephen Thrower, author of Murderous Passions, The Delirious Cinema of Jesus Franco. Well, he's just everywhere.
I need to find that book, though. That sounds like a good book.
It does. It does sound like a cool book. In the Land of Franco, Part 10. Where's 1 through 9? Did we miss that?
I don't know. You have to collect all the other ones, I guess.
Great. Spanish opening credit sequence. Okay. Deleted scene from English language version. Okay. And trailer. There we go.
All right. From VCI, we have Dark Knight of the Scarecrow 1 and 2. This is a double feature. original from 1981, and the sequel, which I did not even know about, from 2022.
You know, I knew about it, and it was on. It's on one of the free services. I don't remember which one, but not free, but I know it might have been actually on Tubi, but it might have also been on one of the other paid streaming services too. I just never got around to watch it either. But I'll probably just buy both because I think there's since it's a 2-pack. So
yeah, but the original one's great, and no features on this one, but you're getting 2 movies, so can't complain.
Not at all, unless the second one is really bad. Vinegar Syndrome is back now with Phase 4 in 4K from 1974. A lot of 4s there. Desert ants suddenly form a collective intelligence and begin to wage war on the desert inhabitants. It's up to 2 scientists and a stray girl they rescue from the ants to destroy them. But the ants have other ideas.
Ooh.
Yeah, this reminds me, this is like, I said it's like Kim Burns, like when she had the ant Coachella in her apartment, but it kind of looks like not Empire of the Ants, because that was the giant ants. It was that other movie with all the little ants, and then meets like The Visitor or something.
Yeah, it's very, it's really out there. This is why you guys wonder why I love 70s horror.
Yeah.
Because they just did the most ridiculous stuff, and they didn't care. They just did whatever. Like, there was no rules, there was no boundaries or nothing. They just did crazy stuff. Let's make a movie where there's psychic ants in the desert. Let's do that. And they just went for it. And they don't do that anymore. You don't make like crazy.
You know why? Because the internet ruins it. Because something leaks out and it gets all this bad press, and then they cancel things.
Yeah.
Just let things go out. This one is actually a really packed disc, by the way.
Yes.
It's a 3-disc set, actually, so it's got 4K Blu-ray and 2 Blu-rays. So it's got a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. The 84-minute theatrical trailer is available on both the 4K Blu-ray and Blu-ray discs, so that's good. 89-minute preview version. Why is it longer than the the preview version is longer than the other one? With multiple soundtrack options is included on a Blu-ray disc. So one of them, you have to surprise which one. Commentary track for the theatrical version with film historian Matthew Asprey Gear. So that's a new one.
Oh, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, so he likes to go by Mag, first of all, because nobody can say Matthew Asprey Gear without any kind of like fluidity. So yeah, he does that. He also was the lead singer for the mostly unknown 80s cover band with his brothers called Gears for Fears. After 5 tumultuous years, though, he couldn't take the grind, and he decided to shift careers to become a film historian. Poor Tim.
Speaking of Tears for Fears, the actual 80s band, I listened for the first time the other week. I listened to their 2022 album.
They had one?
And it was fantastic.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't even know they were still around.
They put out an album in 2022, and it's called The Tipping Point, I think. And I would The Tipping Point. I would highly recommend it. It's a really, really good album. Like, they still sound fantastic. So yes, check that one out. I really got it.
A lot of people think they're like this one-hit wonder, but they've had other songs that just didn't get as much radio play. And so, but now I'm actually interested to hear this new album.
Well, their big album that had all the hits, songs from the Big Chair, is all-time classic. But even
I meant more like one album wonder, not one hit wonder. They had,
but they're I mean, all the songs on that are great. Like that, they're very. I feel like they're underrated for their songs that are not what the MTV rotation songs. But check out the new album. New album's good.
Yeah, MTV had and I think that's why one of the things with the 80s, like music and stuff, because MTV was such a force in there that like any big song like had to get this music video rushed out right away, because that's what people like, I mean, it was basically right in there. Video killed the radio star, it's like you had to, like, when that appeared, it kind of was like a really like kind of meta thing, because like everyone, like at that point, you'd go home from school and you'd throw on MTV, and like people would watch MTV for this, and that's how they'd hear the songs first sometimes. So it's really interesting on how like that kind of dictated albums. Like back in the, like just before that, before MTV and the thing, you would go to the store, you get an album, you listen to the whole thing, flip it, hear the whole thing again, and the other side, and then you keep listening to it over and over again. But now, but back then, where they would the radio rotations would be dictated by MTV's videos, and so you'd basically you'd get this whole album and you hear like 2 songs on it because that's all you'd hear, and then those it would be like a whole, like, you'd almost be forced to listen to what they wanted you to hear off the album rather than enjoy the whole album.
Yeah, that's why when I got back into vinyl, that's one of the things I love about it. It's not the sound quality, because CDs sound fantastic these days, honestly. The reason I like vinyl is because it forces you to listen to the whole album.
Yeah.
You have to buy it. Number one, you have to invest money in it, which already gives you some ownership of it. And then you have to put it on the record player. You have to clean it. I mean, there's always, like, you have to invest significant time in the music, and that changes the way you listen to it. I swear it does. It's so much different than just clicking a button and listening to a song when you have to go through that ritual.
I apologize for Obi in the background. I don't know what he
I apologize for my kids screaming in the background. Yeah. So we got chaos going on.
Yeah, we got chaos on each coast here. But yeah, no, it's true though, because like, if you ever tried to listen to like a song mid-album, like, it's a pain in the ass. And you'd be scratching records, or you'd listen to, you'd have to line it up, and and then you'd have to take that buffer thing and like make sure you cleaned off the scratch with the little liquid. It's a thing. But I tell you though, I do miss those days where it's like, every time I see you do it, I feel like, maybe I should get into, but I can't deal with another collection right now. Not where.
Oh yeah, and especially not vinyl, because it's so much space and money.
Yeah,
I
don't have
the worst thing to start collecting. But
yeah, until we get. Yeah, until we get a new place. But I remember what's so fun is I remember the old days, you'd take the album out, you'd put it on there, you'd start it, and you hear that little sound for a second, and then it'd just play, and you'd hold the big square, like, album sleeve in your hand, and like, look at the back, look at the bar, and some of them were cool. They opened up and had books in it, pages. Yeah. There's nothing like that anymore. That's why it's like, physical media to me will always have a place that I will prefer, just because I like that. We've gone over this, but the tactile situation of just holding it in your hand and being able to look at what, admire, like, while you're listening, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I treasure every album that I own because I feel like I own it. It's not, I don't own Spotify. And they cannot
take it away from you, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I don't own Spotify. I don't, like, if I bought an album digitally, I wouldn't feel like it was really mine. I mean, it's something about just having that physical object in your house. It's on a shelf. You can pull it out. You can take it out of the sleeve. You can look at it. Yeah, and I know we're just old people talking about old stuff, but
there's plenty of us out there.
There's plenty of us. Yeah,
I'll be like Lando. There's more of us, Poe. There's more of us. Okay. Anyway,
back to the extras. Here we go.
We're moving on here. Evolutions: The Making of Phase 4, 48 minutes. A brand new documentary about Eliza Drenner, featuring interviews with Jeffrey Bass, co-star Michael Murphy, which I noticed in there. Remember, he's the mayor in the Tim Burton Batmans.
Yeah,
Michael Murphy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Screenwriter, not mayor. No, was he the mayor? I guess he was. Right, the mayor of Gotham, was it?
Michael Murphy? Yeah, because he wasn't Commissioner Gordon.
No, he wasn't Commissioner Gordon. I think he might have. I think he was the mayor's. And I could get his government position wrong, but basically he was somewhere in the politics of Gotham City.
Yeah.
Michael Murray, screenwriter Mayo Simon. Oh, Tim, you don't like that already.
Oh, hold the mayo,
guys. Yeah, he's got mayo. Tim is not a mayonnaise fan. We've actually discussed this very topic today.
I'm not. It's not even that I'm not a fan. It's that I'm outright hater. Like I literally despise it.
Yeah, Tim. And it all started with that picture. Was it Cone that sent us a picture of the guy that had no hands eating all the mayo? Or something?
No, I sent that.
Because it
popped up in my Facebook feed for some crazy reason.
That's weird. It found what you dislike the most.
Yeah.
But I don't. I mean, honestly, and I'm not trying to be unsympathetic in any means, but how the logistics of him picking those cuts up without hands to eat it that fast on top of it all.
It adds a whole new layer of horror. I'm not picking on the guy. I'm picking on the idea of having to eat cups of mayonnaise, but you can't even use your hands to do it. It's oh my God.
He had no hand. So I don't know how did he do? Did he just and I'm not trying to make fun. I know it's going to sound funny, but did he just move his arms together to pick it up and then just squeeze and let it squirt?
The only way I could think of is how Mia eats her pup cups from Starbucks.
But But
Like,
that,
just
she has
stick
a
your-
snout. She can get deep in there. That cup was high. How did he had to do some squeezing?
He might
to
have a
get it.
big tongue. He might just went for it right
Oh,
down
like
in
he's
the
like
cup.
Gene Simmons, like
Yeah.
Well, they do
like
say,
Gene
like
Simmons.
they do say when you're like just the way human science works, I guess. Like they say, like if you can develop your other senses when you lose a sense, right? Like they say, like that's why blind people could have an amazing sense of hearing.
Yeah.
And like remember, like what was it? Don't breathe. Right? Remember the guy
Yeah.
could hear like the slightest thing because you're forced to naturally develop those other senses out of survival instinct. So maybe his Mayo survival instinct kicked in.
So he lost his hands and grew like an inch.
A good
his tongue.
more tongue to get. Well, I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. Like in this weird twisted brain of ours. I mean, it's like it makes sense. I don't know. It's so funny how this poor guy, like Mayo Simon, who we have no idea who he is.
It was just yeah.
Like caused this. But anyway, maybe we'll share the article on our page so you can know what we're talking about. Anyway, he's an archivist, Sean Savage, and design historian.
Ooh.
But that's not a film historian.
That's
so
not a
he doesn't
film
get
historian.
thing
It
yet.
doesn't count.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Yeah, it's nice try to slip that in, but no. Saul Bass biographer Pat Kirkham. Anyway, Formicidae Symphonia, the music and sounds of Phase 4, 15 minutes, a brand new featurette with composer Brian Gascione and electronic music artist David Vorhaus. It's almost like Jason Voorhees. David Vorhaus.
I would love to hear the score though. I bet it's pretty cool.
No, it'll be like, this soundtrack has a verse. A David Vorhaus verse. Sorry, that was terrible. Okay, deleted shots and sequences for 2 minutes. So they were very timely with their cuts. Raw footage from Saul Bass, original ending montage sequence, 16 minutes. Theatrical trailer, still gallery, and reversible sleeve artwork. And folks, we still have a few more to go, and the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Next up from Vinegar Syndrome, Spanish Bloodbath from 1974. This is a 3-film.
I love titles that just like flat out tell you what you're getting.
Yeah. Well, this is a 3-film set. This is not.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
I only watched one trailer though. Then
they mashed up all the movies. That's why we couldn't tell what was going on.
Why it makes no sense. Yeah. Okay.
So this is 3 movies: Night of the Skull, Violent Bloodbath, and The Fish with the Eyes of Gold, which is what the trailer seemed to focus on because they were talking about a fish every other.
Yeah. Not with the heart of gold, just the eyes of gold.
Yeah, I think that's a Neil Young song.
It is. Yeah.
The Fish with the Eyes of Gold. Lots of talk about fish, water skiing, and big hair.
I want a group watch with this one. The first of many in this
yes,
week.
This one looks like a group watch. 3-disc set, new 4K restorations from the original camera negatives, presented in their original Spanish mono soundtracks with newly translated English subtitles, as well as an English mono dub soundtrack for Violent Bloodbath. An interview with actor Antonio Mayans for Night of the Skull. An interview with Sitges Festival director Angel Sala for Night of the Skull.
You know, until you said that, I'm pronouncing it in my head as Stygius all the time, and I've seen it written. I reverse the I and the T every time when I see all like our, all the directors and stuff we talk.
I'm probably still mispronouncing it. I have no idea.
No, I think you're right. It probably is Sitges, but
an interview with Carlos Grau, son of director Jorge Grau for Violent Bloodbath. An interview with actor Jose Lafante for Violent Bloodbath. An interview with Sitges Festival director Angel Sala for Violent Bloodbath. An interview with Sitges Festival director... how many times do I have to say this?
I know you're like rubbing it into me.
Angel Sala for The Fish with the Eyes of Gold. 5 Spanish Giallo recommendations by Angel Sala. Reversible sleeve artwork. And this is why I take German, because when Duolingo heard me pronounce Spanish, it said, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go switch to a different language.
Really?
We need more. We need more German... German horror titles.
You know what I found out? That Julie has she bought the lifetime subscription to Duolingo. I didn't realize that, so I need to jump in on that because I want to learn. For my in-laws, I want to learn Portuguese. So
there you go. Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna start taking that. So I'm gonna.
It's great.
We'll share with each other because you've always been so gracious of sharing like the German words. I'm gonna share the Portuguese words with you.
Yeah, I mean, you could be friends on Duolingo, and we could do like quests together and stuff.
That's my God, we're totally doing that. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is another Vinegar Syndrome, and this is The Playgirls and the Vampire. 1960. It says made in 1960. Piero Rignoli's The Playgirls and the Vampire is one of the earliest Italian horror films. After skipping out on an unpaid hotel hotel bill, a busload of curvaceous showgirls is forced off the road by a thunderstorm. They prevail on the hospitality of a nearby castle, where the reclusive Count Kernassi nearly orders them away until he sees Vera, a leggy dancer who's dead ringer for his beautiful ancestor Margarita. Unfortunately, Vera is also attractive to the Count's 200-year-old bloodthirsty ancestor who's a dead ringer for his descendant. What?
What? Okay.
I'm confused. Who loves who? Okay, anyway. Tim Roth's soundtrack by Barnum and Bailey.
That's what it sounds like.
And it's like, it's done like, it is. It's like this circus music with like title cards like it was a silent movie. But it was in
weird.
1960s,
It's
so
gotta
I don't
be
know why they chose that way.
I feel like it's just the trailer for the release, and they put slammed on some circus soundtrack for it, because that cannot possibly be the movie soundtrack.
No.
I'm hoping it cannot be.
No, but we will, if someone has seen this, let us know. It's got a new 4K restoration from a fine grain master. I'm not sure what that is. But okay, but it was like a million, like sand, and they pieced it all together, because that's worthy of a purchase if they did that. Presented, it's an original Italian language mono soundtrack with newly translated English subtitles, as well as an English dub mono soundtrack. Striptease Gothic. Conversation with Mark Thompson Ashworth, and first of all, that would be a great film historian and a great band name, Tim.
Yes.
Striptease Gothic.
Oh, I'm adding that to the band
that to
name.
our list.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Right now.
So we have to share it with the group.
Yeah, we have a running list of band names that you're not allowed to steal, but I'm adding it in real time on the podcast.
Yes,
but I think
we have proof.
Some of them are not safe for work. I can't even mention them.
Yeah,
but I think one of the best ones we've ever done is Fuckload of Muppets. That's probably
that's
probably one of our best ones.
That one's a pretty good one. And that one probably would be a great like group to see in concert, I think.
Yes,
because you'd have puppets in there. Of course, Emily might not go visit because she'd be traumatized at the puppets.
But, we have some great ones in there.
Yeah, mostly it's so funny because most of them come so organically out of the chat. It's rare that we find one that way, like we would just read it and say, "Oh, that would make a good band name." No, it literally is like just our normal everyday weird conversation.
It's something somebody says. Yeah, it's something somebody says and it just triggers like it's a particular phrase. Like I think one we had recently as an example was let me find it. It was Never Ending Shit Show. That was one of our band names, Never Ending Shit Show. I think one of us, like Ken or somebody, said that.
Yeah. So it's always like constant. Yeah, and it's like it's so that's what we. So Tim was like, I'm gotta start a list. I gotta start a list of these, and he went in and made like this nice little spreadsheet for us. Anyway, so back to after we see Striptease Gothic in concert. It's got an original trailer, alternate The Playgirls of the Vampire opening title sequence, alternate Curse of the Vampire opening title, alternate Desfiles pour un Vampire French title sequence, still gallery, and reversible sleeve artwork.
See, our French is as good as our Spanish.
Yeah.
All right, I get this one.
Boy,
wow. So this is
you get the best one ever.
This is the gem of the. We did not do this as our pick of the week, and you'll understand why. But my God, in any other week, this probably would have been it.
But we implore you to, as soon as you hear this, stop the podcast, watch this trailer.
Please go watch this trailer.
3.5 minutes of the best trailer you've ever possibly seen.
It might be the best trailer ever in Civil Gore history. It might very well be.
Is. It has to be. I don't know what comes close to it. I'll tell you when Tim is done. I will give you the one of the lines of the trailer.
Yes. So this is from Vinegar Syndrome. It is called Herencia Diabolica, which in the English title translation is The Diabolical Inheritance. From 1993. A diabolic clown doll murders people that are cruel to him.
Yeah. And
all I can say is, I'll give you one line from the trailer. It's not Brian's. And it's, their life is now a circus. A circus from hell.
Yes, and we should preface this, they say like they reference like it, Pennywise from It and Chucky and all these killer doll things, but like this is not played by this is played by like just a small person, I think, or a little person.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
In like clown makeup, and it's like so bad, like you can even tell that like the doll they use looks nothing like when they decide to animate him. It's like completely like change because like it's like the doll they got looked like it was just slopped together, like, and then they put makeup on this little person.
Every scene in this trailer is so gold. Like there's a sequence in the trailer that I swear, I know this trailer is only 3 minutes. This sequence had to have gone on for 15 minutes of a lady falling off a building, And it was so super slow motion. Like it was, you could like sit there and like pencil sketch each individual frame as it went by. That's how slow it was.
Yeah. I think the gem portion of this trailer has to be though where they tell you how this is. I think they started with like, this is a clown that can get down,
yes.
And literally you get to see a 35-second clown doll human sex scene with the backdrop to the Macarena, and then the voiceover says, and I'm going to read it the way they say it.
Yes,
if you feel something wet, it's not his squirting. Flower. It's like, it's so intentional. It's like, but I'm telling you, you need to watch this trailer.
We're not doing it justice. We're not doing.
We almost should like post it. We could probably post it, right? I think we.
It's on YouTube. It's free. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I'm thinking I could probably share it easily enough, right? I'll share it. Yeah,
we got to share this because it's the best thing I've seen in ages. Like,
yeah, and the worst part is it's not available anywhere for streaming. So Tim and I literally already said we have to order this.
We're gonna order this. We're gonna have to. Like,
it's got, and we should almost do a full commentary with it.
We
group watch, get everybody involved.
This is gonna be a big thing. Like this has got to be a round table. I don't know what this has got to be. There's got to be something.
It's got to be everything.
It's got to be something.
Everything. Every like trick we have in the book. Like round table.
Like I'm literally going and ordering this as when we get off of this podcast. I'm going to order this right.
Yeah,
now.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. So we.
Oh, wait, this is mine. Okay, so newly transferred and restored for the best quality archival tape master. A commentary track. This is another new film historian, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And this, you might as well sit back because this is a doozy.
Okay, so this is a commentary track with film critic and historian Hugo Lara, not to be confused with Hugh Laurie, I guess.
Yeah, it's Hugo Lara. Yeah,
Hugo Lara.
Yeah, so Hugo had a very interesting path to becoming a film historian, Tim. As part of a fraternity initiation, he and his fellow pledges had to put on a drag show at Adams College, where he was known as Lara Fawcett.
Okay.
They also, like the Alpha Betas, usually were at odds with Louis Skolnick's Lambda 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 frat. Of course, Revenge of the Nerds reference for those who haven't noticed. He eventually found his calling, though, and love of film, and even started his own production company called Laramount Pictures. which didn't last very long. He finally just decided to become a film historian.
Oh, all right. Moving right along.
On these are worse than our usual.
Memorias Diabolicas, the Mexican Chucky, an interview with actor Roberto Guinar, and inside sleeve artwork. Oh, wow.
I feel like that's not doing it justice, just saying the Mexican Chucky.
No, this is so much more. Oh, yeah. It's so great. Go watch that. Yeah, Herencia Diabolica. Yeah.
I almost want to like rewatch the trailer over and over again until I own the disc.
Yes.
Wednesday, season 1. It says, follows Wednesday Adams' years as a student when she attempts to master the emerging psychic ability, thwart and solve the mystery that embroiled her parents. Love the series. It was one of the best, I think, series that Netflix ever came up with. The season 2 is coming out, which is what they said the reason why Jenna Ortega could not return to Scream series. I think it was a couple of other things. I think that was a convenient excuse, personally. Of course, with the news of Scream with Neve Campbell coming back. Oh, and I did find out something, by the way, that Neve Campbell, while she was coming back, she actually said, "I will come back if you rehire Melissa Barrera." Now, I cannot confirm this. This was an article I read, and according to that, Melissa Barrera said, "No, I'm not coming back. I don't care afterwards." So all these people that were hating on Neve Campbell for like going back, like after what they did to Melissa Barrera, apparently that was one of her reasons. She had them reach out to her first to make sure she was not coming back, like on her own terms, kind of thing. Yeah. So, and I could see Neve Campbell doing that because I think that franchise is too important to her. I mean, we'll talk about this another day because it is a good conversation about Neve Campbell returning to Scream series. A lot of mixed reviews online, but. I think she holds that series so near and dear to her heart that I couldn't see her in like just going back and like with all the controversy surrounding it, not trying to make it right first.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So
I believe that article. I can see that being very accurate. So.
All right. Well, our last
next is our pick of the week.
Yeah, our last release here is our pick of the week, and this one is one. If you guys have been listening to the show, you should be very familiar with. It's from Yellowville Pictures, and it is Where the Devil Roams from 2023. Of course, this is the film by the Addams Family, which is ironic that they came right after Wednesday season 1.
Yeah, right. That is funny.
But yeah, go check out our interview with the Addams.
Which we I think we pretty much made a tentative agreement that every year they're going to just come on with their new film because they are like just, oh my god, some of my favorite people to talk to.
This one traces a family of murderous sideshow performers as it travels around the world on the dying carnival circuit. Devil in Detail, behind-the-scene documentary on the making of Where the Devil Roams. Short film by the Addams Family called Ever.
Which is a bonus enough to get a bonus Addams film.
Oh, yeah. Transcription of that fantastic prologue poem of Where the Devil Roams. Trailer and essay by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas.
Oh, that's Saucy Little Minx. They got her on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to, Where the Devil Roams. Like I know, like most people like really loved that film. I know some people weren't huge fans of it, but Tim and I, that's like right up our alley. You put their style of filmmaking mixed with like carny and sideshows, and forget it. You got us. But what I loved about it is it was just there's such and I can't even describe it. Their technique that they use when they do their films, and it's always just like this. It's not slow burn is not the right word. It's just such a pace that they use.
Yeah.
That to me, I think that's what some people don't. Maybe like I don't know. Maybe that's not their thing. But to me, I love it because I think it's such a deliberate pace that all their films kind of take, and it's like and just the fact that I think it's their whole family. Their style is always very consistent. And it always delivers such good movies. I mean, it's like I haven't like every one I've seen. I like more and more.
I think the pacing is partly due to the fact that you could tell a lot of care is put into every scene.
Right.
I feel like every scene is shot very particularly. The dialogue's very particular. Like you could tell they put a lot of care in every single shot. And when you're spending that much time crafting each shot, I think to some people that might come off as slow. I as we said in the interview, like we talked to them in the interview, I think their movies do the opposite. Because we watch a lot of indie film, and a lot of indie film don't know where to cut. But I think their scenes are like exquisitely edited
it's like the perfect length, just enough to get what they want across. And when you self-produce films like that, really, like you kind of almost have to. Be very meticulous. You have to be like on point. You can't just waste shots. You can't waste sequences because the budget's just not there. And that's where I think a lot of times we will see like indie films suffer a little bit. And probably like, when you see some that aren't as sharp, it gives it kind of, that's where that people get that bad rap. And when we say indie films, like usually Tim and I I'd say 99.9% of the time is a positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's rare that I've ever like seen an indie film and like said, oh, they screwed this up because they don't have the budget. No, it's like usually they're really good because how many indie directors and cast have we talked to, and they all come back. They all have the same, like they always have the same level of passion because they know they're not getting bankrolled by some huge studio.
Yeah, it forces you to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is why I think I love indie films so much because you feel the same passion as the viewers feel to watch them. You get that passion when they made them.
Well, I look at films like when I watched the newest Aquaman the other day, and I mean,
of course you had to because who's in it? Olivia would make you watch.
Yes,
it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Jason Momoa aside, who I love, is Aquaman, but
yeah, he's good.
But that movie was horrible. I mean, I don't even know what god-awful budget this movie probably had. Like hundreds of millions of dollars, probably. I mean, it's got to be millions upon millions of dollars to make this Aquaman movie that was terrible.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people that did not like it.
It was hard. And I love that. This is coming from somebody who is A, diehard DC fan. B, I love Aquaman. I don't think he's a joke. I love Aquaman. I even liked him when he was on Super Friends. And I love the first Aquaman movie. I was one of the that one kind of got somewhat mediocre reviews, and I was a big fan of it. But this movie sucked. It was terrible, like in every way, writing, dialogue, everything about it was terrible. And you think about, oh my God, they could have taken that money and given it to 100, that same budget, and give it to 100 indie film directors, and they probably could have made 100 amazing movies for the price of that one terrible Aquaman.
That's actually a cool idea for a thing. Like when we were talking to Scarlett last week, right? When she was on that show, The Rebel Without a Crew, where they basically the whole thing is like, you had to do it in Robert Rodriguez's style, the way he did El Mariachi, $7,000, 2 weeks, like that. That would be a cool thing where you take like a big budget film, like let's say Aquaman, right? Like you just said, and then you take that same amount of budget and disperse it amongst a group of indie filmmakers. Let's just say 10. Give an arbitrary number, 10, and see what they come up with.
Yeah, because I mean,
with a tenth of the budget,
I'm sure Scarlett would take $1 million for a movie.
Oh my God, yeah, and look at her style, which is so incredible. Which I hope you've all seen her films after listening to that episode. It's because it really will come down to a director like. Knowing their voice, knowing what they want to do, and not worrying about the budget. So it's like, it's be interesting to see. Yeah, you're right, though. Like, imagine they just handed her $1 million. What she'd come up with? Oh, my God. Knowing her, she'd probably come up with, like, 6 amazing films.
They spent $205 million to make that piece of garbage. $205 million. Can you imagine what that could do for people? Oh, it hurts my soul when I think about me sitting there watching that movie thinking, you could have given 200 filmmakers $1 million.
Yeah. So think about it. I did it like, let's say I did my 10. That's 20 million per.
20 million per. You could have given
per person.
Oh my God.
We'd have to up the number on something like that. Like that was just the example I gave. We'd probably have to do it something different. Like it could compare like a Marvel or DC movie with the inflated budgets on all the effects, but just something like around that, like maybe like a $50 million budget movie, and then give that the same script and like same everything, like just same script. Well, maybe not the same exact word for word because that would just be boring, but same treatment, same plots and story, and then give that to them where they could rewrite the dialogue, do whatever they want, and let's see what they come up. Wouldn't that be a cool series? Like I think that would be a really cool like reality TV series.
Yeah, I don't know. And this thing even. I was just reading about it. It didn't even break even when you accounted for everything. So I don't know. It's yeah.
And you weren't a big fan of the Flash either, right?
I wasn't a fan of the star of the Flash. I like the story. I like the story, and I like Michael Keaton. But I've been rather disappointed in most of the DC films, and that's because, again, like I said, I'm a diehard DC Comics guy. I love the Marvel movies too. But when I grew up, I grew up on DC Comics. I didn't read a lot of Marvel comics. So even though I love the movies and everything, my heart is with DC because of Batman. Because I'm such a huge Batman fan. But I've been the DC movies just haven't really done much for me.
Yeah, because I actually overall like the Flash. Yeah, I'm not a huge Ezra Miller fan myself based on all what they've done. But it just. I kind of like the story, and I did geek out towards the end. I'm not going to give a spoiler for those who haven't seen it yet, but I definitely geeked out at the end. The cool, like, retro things that were going on.
Yeah, I would have geeked out more if the CGI had been worth a crap, but it was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It was terrible. But anyway, so we digress. So that was our March Dismemberment, and we're going to be back in April. I'm hoping we could do the next one on video.
We should. Yeah, I want to do that again, yeah.
So we'll try to do April Dismemberment. We'll do it on video. It'll still be in your podcast feed in an audio version, but we'll also release the video version on YouTube, our YouTube page. So go check that out. And we'll see you back here next month.
See y'all.